year did an open house. I know she's distracted right now. Sorry, Rashia. How was your open house? Yeah. 4 families. Okay, so you did both days, Saturday and Sunday, and that was Pickering. And did you do door knocking beforehand as well? Okay. Did anyone come from the door knocking or? Okay, that's okay. Did you meet anybody though? Anyone? Did they answer the door? Did they answer the door? So.
What was the price point of that house? Price point or the listing price? Okay. Yeah, so that's a trickier price too. So even that amount of people for that price point's pretty good. Under $1 million, still doing pretty well in finding detached.
Yeah.
How's everyone's condos doing?
Not fun.
Condos is the worst one. We're hearing a lot.
Fun on the buyers end though.
Sure, buyers, perfect. Yeah. If you got buyers that are in the condo price range, get them out now.
Yeah, there is no shortage of condos. So we know when we get new showings on our condos, we know that it's because another one got listed.
Yeah.
It's not because ours was priced well. It's because something else came and now they're comparing. So it's a good thing for us to get more showings, but they are struggling. So.
And condo townhomes. So like all the condo towns and condo apartments.
Yeah.
I showed 5 condos yesterday. All of the agents called me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of them told me that, you know what, if the price and issue.
Highly motivated.
We're motivated.
Yeah. You know, when the listing agent's calling you, like, especially right away after you're showing, you know, their clients are really asking for feedback or it has been very slow. So.
I've even heard of a trick. Morale told me this one where she had booked an appointment and the listing agent called her right away. So before the showing, not after the showing, and said, just so you know, I've seen every single unit in this building. Ours is the best because of X, Y, Z, and we are motivated. The price is negotiable. Please think about mine. That was before she even gone to the showing. So just setting it up. Like, I've seen every single one. Ours is the best, just so you know. Yeah. And I don't know if you ended up offering on his or not. Oh, there you go.
Sometimes it works. Just have that.
And was it true? Was it true?
There you go. So there.
That he was the most flexible price.
So that's good. So get ahead of it. Don't wait till after. Like, set it up so when they go and they're showing it, they have that in their mind.
We did the opposite. We've got some young kids that were selling and we had to do the opposite because the kids didn't clean it before, and we had a showing in 3 weeks. Haven't seen it since we put it up, and we called the listing agent, like, hey, booked a showing, just letting you know it like might not be showing ready because it was so last minute, but we're like, I just know there's teenage kids living in it. So
yeah, they're
we
students.
did the opposite call to prepare them. And we're like, it's the only showing we've had. Please be nice. They didn't call us back.
You only gave us 2 hours notice. We're cleaning it up right now.
That's a good lesson for anybody here. You've got a property that's not selling right now and you got a showing that maybe 1 or 2 showing. Why not phone the person before the showing to talk about it? It's not a bad, not a bad strategy at all, and it works, right?
Yeah. And it helps you give some push to your clients too a little bit. So yeah.
You want to work with an agent that's easy to work with.
Yeah, exactly. Someone needs a hug. Okay.
A condo hug.
I worked. Should I just read it? I worked with a client for 7 months to buy a condo at 1.2 million budget, went and saw a bunch. Then the bad news hit the media and they decided to rent for a year to see where the market goes. Here, that's
Talking about the political media, is that the bad news or what bad news? I mean, there's a lot of bad news right now, but
Honestly, feels like the best time to buy a condo.
it depends on how you look at it, right? Yeah. Oh, okay. There's the media with condos.
That would be the opposite problem then, wouldn't it be? Wouldn't you want to buy when you know that
in Canada
when the market goes down? Yeah. Interesting.
So I'll do the stats first.
Yeah, you tell us what's actually happening in the market.
I can talk about condos as well. So we're talking about condos right now. It seems to be the thing right now. But the last week was an eventful week. Somebody should write all down in your calendar, your diary, or someplace there. What happened in the last week or so? Somebody tried to get somebody dodged a bullet. Right. Right. So somebody got COVID. Nobody told him, and he quit. Right. There's a full moon this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
The CPI went down last week to 2.7% from 2.9. So it went from 2.8 to 9.27. On Thursday, we're going to have an expectation of another rate announcement on Wednesday. And Varan and I have a sort of running thing here, what's happening here.
Have you guys been right yet?
It depends on what the bond rates are doing, so
What do you think, 0.5%? Quarter?
Quarter.
if it's gonna be anything, it's gonna be a quarter point, but do you think it's gonna come down or no?
Yeah.
I'm on the no change too,
Ooh, I think it's gonna go down.
but just so you know, 90% of bank experts do think there's gonna be a quarter point, and only about 7% think there's not gonna be any change.
Trudeau needs some votes, right? So not, no.
Political wise, yes.
All right, so we'll see what happens there. So that's fun. Active listings right now, we've, stick to the good news first. Did everybody get their, speaking about Trudeau, did everybody get their Canada carbon rebate?
Ooh,
Is there, everyone's different? Did somebody get like
I
$100
need to go
bucks?
check mine.
Some people got $200. So I don't know. I'm not sure how they calculate it. I have no idea.
what'd
but
you get?
I'm not gonna say because I don't know how it's calculated.
I don't know if I got one.
I'm not sure. Anyway, so check your bank or something there. You would have got some free money there to you know. Even if you got $100 back, you had to pay $400 for the pleasure to get $100
That's
back,
right.
right?
That's about one trip to the grocery store right there. So
Active listings got about almost 24,500. So it's been hanging there for last bunch of weeks, right? Around 24,500. I checked Broker Bay this morning just to see what's going on with appointments. And it's funny, we're averaging about for year to date. Well, each day we're averaging around about 5,000 appointments all across Toronto. About 5,000 appointments a day all across Toronto, and that is the same as it was last year. So last year and this year, the same amount of showings, around 5,000 a day. But this year we have twice as many listings. So you have twice as many listings, half as many showings, or whatever's going out there. So if you've got listings out there with no showings, you've got plenty of lots of company, right?
Yeah.
So what's going on there? So there's people out there buying, but they're just not buying at the same rate as they did before. 24,000, 24,800. Last week it was 24,500. This week it's 24,800. So it's gone up a little bit. Condominiums have gone up, last week 11,300, this week 11,400, up a little bit, and same with freeholds, 13,300 this week 13,400. So it's up about 100 per unit there for active listings. Sales themselves, 3,500 last year, 3,800, so about -8% from last year. But unfortunately, if I compare it to the first 21 days in July, we had 4,500. The first 21 days 21 days in June, 4,500. 21 days in July, 3,500. So it's down about 20% from June, and that makes sense too because we get the summer market, right? But if you've got a property sitting there and you're getting less showings now than you did last month, that's why, because there's less activity, right? And now we're in the summer market, right? On the condominium side, sales are about -10% from last year, -14% from last month. Freeholds -6% from last year, -25% from June. So from June, the showings are down about 20% or so, or not, yeah, the showings are down about 20%. Active listings, 13,500, 8,400 are condos, 5,000 are freeholds.
of leases.
Sorry, leases. The leases are actually down, unfortunately, 42%. So we said it's gone up a little bit. It's actually down from last year, quite a bit, like 40% down.
What's that like? The house deal?
That's
Leases.
Number.
Leases, like the number of units, not pricing, the units are down 40% from last year
Most people are leasing.
for leases.
Than
Less
last.
people are leasing.
Less people are listening, and about half as many.
Like, yeah.
So that's interesting. Now, I've been reading some stuff about condos and what's selling in condominiums, what's going on in the condominium market. So, and somebody was suggesting that when investors bought real estate, investors were buying the cheapest units they could buy because they're actually, let me do that. They're speculators, not investors, speculators. Speculators, what they're buying from pre-construction, they buy the cheapest units, wouldn't they? Is that generally what they do? They try to buy the cheapest unit, or would they buy the 1+1 dens? 1+1 den would be the most popular, but because of money, a lot of people stayed for the little stuff. So what it was suggested was that the condominium market is higher because of the lower priced units being on the market. All these investors, speculators trying to get rid of all their inventory.
All the bad investments.
That was the commentary, and everybody shaking their head because it makes sense, because that's, it's logical, right? But I did double check and see what's going on. So we've got 11,400 condominiums. So that includes townhouses and everything. I'm not sure it includes Paul's, probably not, but it certainly includes townhouses. If I take out the townhouse and just have high-rise condos, because that's when we talk about condos, that's generally what's in our head, is it not? It's condominiums, not
Yeah.
townhouses. So of the nine, so there's 9,100 condo apartments for sale right now. So 9,000, let's say 9,000, right? 5,000 of those are properties that are less than 500 square feet. And that represents about 5%. And between 500 and 600, so at least go up in 100 square foot increments, right? So the 500 to 600, there's 1,300, there's 14% of the inventory is in that range. Between 600 and 700 is 20%. So the highest is actually 20% is between 600 and 700 square feet. That does make sense, right? And then it goes down from there, 14%, 12%, 9%, 11%, 6%. But if I compare it to what's selling, those are active inventory. If I compare to what's selling, so less than 500 square feet, 5% is active inventory, 8% is the sales. So it's actually selling more. The smaller units are actually selling as a percentage higher than the other ones. 600 square foot, it's 9%. So 600 square foot, there's 14% of the inventory, but only 9% are selling. The 600 to 700 square feet, does anybody have any product in that range?
Mhm.
It represents 20% of the inventory, but only represents 10% of the sales. So that's telling me that even though we got loss of inventory, that seems to be the bulk of it, not the little stuff. It's right in the heart between the 600 and 700 square foot, which would be what, one plus one bedroom, 1+1 in that range. Only 10% are selling. So that's curious. So if you're trying to break it down a little bit,
Buy something bigger and then they can't.
if you want to buy bigger, I mean, if you go over 1,200 square feet, it's only 6% of the inventory, but represents 14% of the sales. So it's the bigger stuff that's selling, contrary to what everybody wants to believe. So everybody's telling me that's the little stuff that's not selling. Is that it? Actually, it's the little stuff that's not selling, the big stuff is selling.
That makes sense. It's end user though. So these are speculators that are selling, the end users are moving into it. They want bigger spaces.
So that's fine. And then this one guy here, he made the newspaper. And he's talking about, I can only drop the price so much inside one condominium's owner's desperate attempt to sell in Toronto's ghost market. Talking about a ghost market there. And he's got this property in Charlotte, which is around, I guess, Queen and Spadina area. He's been trying to sell this place here. And he's complaining that he bought it and he doesn't want to lose money. He just dropped the price by $50,000. He's complaining about the commission he has to pay. He's complaining about not selling. Got it listed around 652,000. No, he paid 652 for it. He's been trying to get 659, 650, 639, not selling. Finally, he put it on his private sale. Spent $2,000 trying to promote it on Facebook Marketplace and so on and so forth. Still didn't sell it. Then another guy in the building comes up in a property for sale for 572. And I checked the MLS right now. The first time he had it listed with a discounter that was offering
1 cent.
dollar co-op commission.
Oh, nice.
So the guy's chopped his own face off. Now he's relisted the property with a proper company offering 2.5. He's still $80,000 too high, or compared to the one that's not selling. The one that's sitting at 570, whatever it is, has been in the market for 42 days. So this guy's, and he made, here's the newspaper here. He made this in the Toronto Star. He's got about 7 pages of the Toronto Star talking about it in there. So you can't get any more publicity than that. And it's still not selling.
Does he pay for that or did they pay him the story?
I don't know. That's probably his burden.
So there's no money exchanging.
Marketing.
So what's,
The Toronto Star is funny, right? It's you guys go next. Right? Did you guys hear that? I think it even made the newspaper or made the radio too. Somebody that quit their job in South America, worked for IBM for 9 years, came to Canada, her husband, and had to rent Airbnb or had to rent a hotel, couldn't find a place because anybody that wanted to rent it to her, they wanted 6 months or 12 months up front. She finally had to pay 12 months up front. And the paper's complaining, what's going on here? What a rip, and these people have to do it. Meanwhile, the person didn't have a job, didn't have references, didn't have, didn't have any credit rating, had 0, and then the paper sort of on her side saying, what a crooked system. I'm thinking, who's gonna rent to this person? Nobody. Right? So I thought that was funny.
So what do we do with condos then?
And then the condo market's gone nuts. This is one of our listings. I can't believe we're doing it, but we're asking $3,000 rental. I'm not gonna say where it is or what it is, but it's one of those, it's a stacked townhouse, three stacked townhouse. It's not, sorry, not stacked. It's a 3-level townhouse. The normal standard 3-level townhouse. The person's trying to rent the first floor. I don't know how they did it, but the first floor for $1,700 and the second and third floor for $3,000.
They got share a kitchen?
No, somehow, I don't know how they did it, but they
Wow.
they added a kitchen to the main floor somehow. See what's going on? I don't know if it's legal or not. That's what I don't want to talk about. But you can see it's just one of those little,
Yeah.
those brand new little.
With the
three-story
garage.
townhouses.
Not the
You
stack,
see-
but they're-
You see them all over the place. The flat rate. So this guy's trying to get $4,700 for rent.
I mean, that's
That's-
probably what the rent, like,
that's
what the
an
mortgage
investment.
is.
It's what the mortgage
That's
is.
probably what the mortgage is.
That's an investor, right? And then finally, before I let these guys go, if you do not show up for an appointment, what do you do? Sorry, call. When do you call if you can't make it?
Typically before the appointment.
I complained a couple weeks ago about one of our brand new agents. I still think it's bad. And we tried to appeal and they said, well, they said our agent trespassed. Therefore, that's why they charged her. I think, what are we guys?
She went a day early.
I said, why wouldn't you phone the police
By
instead of charges? If you're calling trespass, it's none of your business. Anyway, she mixed up her date. She had appointments for the Thursday and she showed up on the Wednesday by mistake. So she said a mistake. He talked to the agent by mistake. It was a mistake. Rico still fined her. What?
$1,000.
$1,000 course.
She gave her a warning, $1,000 course, and the course is 2 days, 1 day,
It was for a rental.
and it's for a rental to boot. So she charged $1,000 for doing that. So it's
That was
just,
her entire check.
and she's been in the business like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I mean, to me, it's just
It's
disgusting.
awful.
So that's was that Treb?
That was a Treb case.
Or was it Rico?
That was Treb. This one you have in front of you is Rico. It's
So
her.
so now I'm thinking, okay, so we don't want Treb to do these anymore because
They're
you sure
expensive.
it's Treb and
Mhm.
Yeah.
okay. Anyways, no, it's Rico.
Okay.
It is
Actually,
Rico.
yeah, it was
No,
Rico.
it's Rico because I wasn't fined.
Mhm.
Okay, fair. There's only one jail.
If
cell.
it goes to Trev, I get fined as
Yeah,
well.
right.
Well, you get fined twice, right? So this guy here went to Rico. This guy did the same thing. He made a mistake, mixed up the days. He got fined $6,500. $6,500. He mixed up his dates.
Probably because he wasn't new. So the leniency on the new was $1,000. This person probably wasn't new.
It's an expensive no-show fee.
And they had to do a course.
And of course,
Well, my point, and
call cops.
I said, if I was on the phone, I would have said, if you're gonna charge them trespassing, then it's none of your business. Get a hold of the police. And what would the police do?
Nothing.
Nothing. What did Rico do? $6,500 fine. So that's what I'm saying. You drive in the 401 for 250 miles an hour or something, you get, $500 fine. Don't do it again or something, right? Here, nuts. Anyways, that's my political.
No, it's awful.
We
can
love
still say feel
Rico. Rico's our friend.
Rico's not our thing.
We're on recording.
And of course, the answer is this. Well, why didn't you show up? Why did you make a mistake? Well, because we're
Human
human.
error.
Yeah, there's no human compassion with these panels.
Yeah,
But by the way, they are accepting positions right now. They're looking for volunteers to be on these panels. So if you feel passionate about this and you want to be on the panel to help make these decisions, apparently they only got 38 applications out of 70,000 agents. So there's room on their panel if you want to join.
Is it a voluntary job?
Mhm.
Mhm.
They don't pay anything?
Mm-mm.
That's like 138.
No, they pay for every meeting, for every meeting.
Yeah.
Probably a problem.
Well, if they're paying,
Um,
let's join the board.
Maybe I'll just continue with legal stuff then, since we're on that topic. I want to talk about two things. Poddles. Everyone knows what a poddle is.
POTL.
POTL, parcel of tied land. So when you list a poddle, you have to include maintenance fees. So there are maintenance fees and a status certificate with a poddle. So even though in GeoWarehouse it'll say freehold, it technically is freehold, but it's part of a condo corporation. So it's really confusing. So you will list it as a condo, but there's a new section in Realm Add Edit where you can add the maintenance fees and you have to disclose that. So don't think you're listing it freehold to get more showings and more activity. It's a liability if you don't sell it properly. You list the maintenance fees, you're going to list that there is a status certificate, and an offer form will be a form 111. So if you're the listing and you have a podo and you get an offer, make sure it's the right offer because it needs a special offer form that has status certificate, has maintenance fees, it has the proper clauses for a podo. So just a reminder,
And the girls would only know that if you instruct them to
That's
do
right.
that as well. So if you know there's a pothole, let the girls know that you need it on a different offer form as well.
you want to share the screen actually?
As part of a listing, does a pothole need to be disclosed? Yes.
100%. Yes.
And there's an actual like area to put it in there as well.
Yeah.
Are you about to load something up?
Might as well. We're on legal stuff now, so we're just gonna shift around.
So just to be clear, they can list it as a freehold then?
Yes.
Just has.
There's a sec, it'll say, is this a parcel title of land? You look like yes, and you'll input the maintenance fees. That's a new thing. It used to be listed as a condo. They changed that in the new Realm Add Edit.
How do they know if it's a pothole versus
so-
a condo? Since on Geo it says
So in
condo.
the legal description, you have to read the body of the description. So the category is gonna say freehold, and then when you look at the actual blurb, it's gonna say part of this condo corporation number. So it's gonna have an actual condo corp number in the legal description, even though the category will say freehold.
Will that be the deed then, as well?
It should be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be on like the legal or
Yeah.
legal description. and all
Yeah,
that.
and the maintenance fees only covers things like landscaping, garbage removal, snow removal, things like that. It's not like there's not a pool. It's typically not common shared elements. It's usually really basic fees to keep it
Usually
together and
townhomes.
usually makes it look a little nicer. You can tell the difference between a freehold townhouse community, like the ones in Ajax off Shoal Point are not well kept versus a pothole. Usually their lawns are all gonna look the same and it's gonna look a little nicer.
You want me to go to it?
Yeah, might as well while we're here. Multiple representation. We all know we are still allowed to do multiple representation, right? Yes, I still get this question a lot from Tressa. So you can still do multiple rep, but what do we need to do if we are in multiple rep? Does anyone know? There is a new form.
It's right behind us.
Oh, it's right, literally.
Right on the screen.
It's right there.
Oh, it gets here. There's a
So-
form.
So as a brokerage, so when Tressa came in, we had designated representation and brokerage representation. And as a brokerage, we decided that we're going to promote brokerage representation because there was more benefits to us as a group than there was designated. You're still welcome to do designated, but all of our forms are going to be defaulted to brokerage rep. So you won't see that section to put your name in. You can of course request it if you want designated rep, but we've sort of made a decision to go brokerage rep. Meaning if you're the listing side and one of our agents, Percy Fulton agents, comes to you with an offer, it's automatically brokerage representation, assuming that you used our brokerage rep forms. Even if they had designated rep and one of them is brokerage rep, they both are brokerage representation. Now it's multiple representation, that's okay. But before you even get to offers, both buyer and seller needs to fill out the acknowledgement and consent form. So both parties need to acknowledge and accept that they are in multiple rep before you proceed with offers and all the paperwork. I'm still seeing this a lot where we're doing, even I'm forgetting a little bit, where we're doing the deal and then I realize that the two of you are Percy Fulton. I'm getting questions from both sides. And I say, did you guys do the multiple rep form? And they didn't. So the girls are not always going to assume. You have to, again, instruct them that it is multiple rep, let them know that it's two Percy Fulton agents and get these two forms done before you start talking about offers. And then the other mistake I've noticed, well, even with
Let's
this.
go back to the bubbles.
Sorry. So what I'm seeing a lot is, yeah, I did the form and then I see this section initialed, this is initialed, this is initialed, and hopefully this one's initialed here. But these are all different things, right? We have to read them a little bit. This first section is straight up multiple rep. Okay, so typically you're just going to initial this, but what I'm seeing is you're initialing all of them,
You're like, one of those is right.
which I guess is fine in a way. You're covering yourself for all different types of situations, but it's not that clear because you can't be multiple rep and designated rep and brokerage rep. And it's no one's fault really. I mean, this form is kind of confusing. Like I can tell already you're going to look at this, be like, that's too many words. I'm just going to find them all and get it done. I know the reality, but it really should just be this section unless you truly one of you are designated rep. And if you don't know, just ask us, but it's not, I don't blame you. The form is really confusing and it's changed a bunch of times, but typically only going to sign this and the bottom.
And you're
section.
just signing that with your client.
Yeah,
So if
there's-
you're the seller, this is the seller form.
Yeah.
And then I guess the next form you have is
The
the
buyer.
buyer. And then there's one for tenants as well.
There's one for
Or there's
tenant.
another one. Okay.
And then also on your CCR, I'm still seeing that people will sign this section. This is for single representation. It says right here. So what I see is you mark off this and multiple rep. You can't be both. It's gotta be one or the other. So if you're in multiple rep, it's most likely gonna be 2A, depending on the situation, and you will not have cooperating. There is no more cooperating broker. Because the listing brokerage will sign, and then there's trust now that it's multiple rep within the brokerage in terms of your commission. So there is no cooperating rep. But I see it often, everyone's signing it, they're checking off everything. You're just trying to get the deal done. But if you don't know, just ask
Pretend you're
us.
going to RICO jail and what they would consider legitimate.
Well, you just have to kind of read. You gotta read the headings. And again, I don't blame you. This form itself has changed 4 times this year alone. So you can tell the heading below here says, oh, even this one's revised March 2024. This is the 4th version.
Keep looking at our fresh graduate over here. You
Yeah.
probably didn't even learn any of these forms in school. They
Yeah.
came after you graduated.
Yeah.
I don't even think the current school's teaching it, to be honest.
They're not teaching trust.
They're not teaching Tresta
Yeah,
yet.
so-
So no new student is coming out knowing
Yeah.
these.
And by the way, when we go through,
Terrifying.
when we get complaints or go through disciplinary, it's actually our job as brokers to tell you this. So we are the ones that get in trouble for this. So that's why we're telling you now. It's on recording.
Want you to charge RICO for this kind of thing.
Right?
True.
What?
But yeah, it's really my liability, and so I want everyone to make sure they're following it. But just let us know. We're here for help. Don't guess and assume, and try to not come to me when everything's all signed and done. Because I get that a lot too, where I get the 2 files and did I do everything correct? I'm like, well, this is signed already. We DocuSign. This is done already. I mean, the keys are being exchanged next week. So yeah, try to come to us before, and then we can help you make sure it's all cleaned up and ready.
Actually, a question on the listing form. Just the listing forms to be designated.
You got it.
The one that's in the file that we get. is just
Brokerage.
Yeah, so the girls will always default to brokerage rep unless you ask them.
On this one.
Yeah.
It's too confusing.
Yeah, we made a decision as a brokerage to not. We're a little bit of the black sheep on that way. A lot of people are doing designated rep for various reasons. It does make multiple rep a little cleaner because you wouldn't need this acknowledgement form, but honestly, it's one extra form. Multiple rep is still okay. I think it's better for the consumer to know that they're in multiple rep. Doesn't make sense to have both agents from the same brokerage, and just because they're DR, it's not multiple rep anymore. That's a little, but you can decide as an agent what
Yeah.
you'd like to
A
do.
lot of the agents here, a lot of you guys do a lot of shared work as well. So it makes it easier if you're doing open houses or if an agent needs help with
vacation.
showings, those are on vacation. It just brokerage helps you guys all be able to rep the same time.
Makes sense? That's all the rules I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna pick one every week to go through instead of hammering you all of them, but yeah, at some point every week we'll go through one sort of rule. Anything else clear on that kind of stuff before I go? Okay, I'm gonna do the weekly 411. I'm gonna,
Just don't
Oh,
forget the
there's a-
RICO information, don't forget the RICO information guide too, right?
Oh yeah, and that needs to be done for tenants too. I did have that question this weekend. So everybody needs to sign the RICO info guide before showings occur. And no working with a realtor form.
no more agreeing with realtor. Okay, so back to a little bit of stats and then we'll go end off with Katelyn with the more fun stuff. This is your weekly 411 from Urban 411. I just read it really fast. They're kind of things that Claire talked about already. So I'm gonna just read it as they are quickly. But we are expecting a rate cut July 24th. They did a survey with experts on who thinks it's gonna cut and versus no change. So basically for July 24th, 92% of people think there's gonna be a quarter cut versus only 7% of people think that there's not. So I might fall into that 7% of people. I don't know why, but most likely we'll get beat out and there will be a rate cut. Annual inflation cooled to 2.7 in June, which is slightly lower than what they had expected. The Canadian dollar also dropped about 2 cents to 73 cents compared to the US dollar following the June inflation report. So Canadian homeowners rush to sell as mortgages renew. We've talked about this a lot this year, but homeowners and investors who bought properties 5 years ago, so not just the ones that bought in the hot market, but anyone that bought like pre-COVID are now struggling with the rates at much higher renewal rates. Condo listings in Toronto have risen by almost 25% in the first quarter, so that's huge. And we can see that in the results that Claire goes through as well. Sales are only increasing 5% of that, so you can tell the inventory is increasing a lot more quicker than the actual sales are happening. Sales have not kept pace with the rise in listings, and that's creating a buyer's market with no buyers. So that's interesting. Some owners are trying to sell to avoid defaulting, leading to an increased supply in the market.
So
You
just
know.
curious, have we seen that yet? I mean, I know people are writing these things here, but has anybody seen any clients that listed their properties because their mortgage is coming due?
Yes.
Yes?
I'm not seeing that, but
I'm just wondering, I know it makes good copy, and I know it makes like
It's like a.
It's easy to write the story because because the events match the story, but I want to know, has anybody actually seen people that list the
Yes.
property because it's doing it?
We
So I
have
have
one.
one yes over here, 2 yeses.
We have
So they're actually selling their property because they can't afford the new rate? So what's going on?
Yeah, but the ironic thing is they're not selling it at a price that needs to sell. So they're sort of listing it at what they'd hope to get for it or try to make back their money, and then it's just sitting there. So it's,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one where. it's
This
like-
is what I see happening. The sellers don't want to lose money, so they're not gonna, they just don't want to lose money.
That's right.
Yeah.
Pull it out.
so Toronto also saw a 60% decline in new housing starts compared to June 2023, meaning builders are just holding back. They're not building right now. They know they're not going to sell, so they're just hanging out. They're going to wait for a better market. Vancouver experienced 55% drop in housing starts, so we're not the only ones. As of June 12th, the city of Toronto had only reached 34% of its housing target for the year. There is a delay between permit issuance and the project start for multi-unit housing. Developers are hesitant to start new projects due to expected slowing price growth and increased supply. So that's unfortunate because we need housing starts, we need new housing, but no one's motivated to do it. So we're still lacking quite a bit. We also have some labor shortages threatening Canadians' housing supply. So the federal government has aimed to build 3.9 million new homes by 2031 to address the housing crisis. However, 134 residential construction workers are expected to retire by 2033, with only 117 expected to rejoin. So now they're going to have not only supply issues, they're going to have labor shortage issues by the time they do get ready to build. So this is going to be an issue as well. The construction workforce would need to increase by 83%, 500,000 people over the next decade. 350,000 housing units are currently under construction in metropolitan areas. And productivity issues in the construction sector contribute to housing supply challenges. Only 2.9% of permanent residents in 2023 intended to work in their skilled trades. That's scary.
You guys are like-
So all your children. I'm just kidding.
No, we have
Going
seen
to
people,
trades.
I mean, in our generation, we were pushed to do college, university, that we didn't have a
Yeah.
choice. And now I'm seeing
Oh,
parents pushing
trades.
towards trades, electrical, plumbing, construction, because there's a need for it. The money is good and clearly you have a need, right?
And
So
AI cannot do.
That's
Yeah, I
right.
cannot do that.
you're right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So something interesting to note, we'll see, immigration would typically help with that too, but then that's just showing us that they also don't want to do that type of labor work either.
Well, who's immigrating here? They're not laborers, right?
They're not laborers,
All right,
they're skilled,
IT
they're
guys,
accountants,
right?
teachers, yeah.
Engineer.
Yeah, they're professionally trained. Regarded to rent, so newcomers are paying up to 12 months rent to secure housing. Are you guys seeing that in your rental still? People paying 6 months, 12 months up front just to be competitive? So yeah, newcomers are paying up to 12 months rent to secure housing in Toronto due to lack of credit scores and references. This practice is not illegal, but it does leave newcomers vulnerable to exploitation. People can take advantage of this and they're trying to get their year up front. Landlords can legally request first and last month's rent, but can accept more if offered. So when you're doing your offers, Nelson showed you guys, you have to sort of type the tenant voluntarily agrees to provide 12 months of rent because a landlord cannot ask them for that much. So be careful when you have listings that you're asking for upfront rent. You're not technically allowed to ask for that. They can offer it to you as an offer, but as a landlord, you can't ask for it or request it.
So Single Key has new program that's called tenant passport.
Oh,
We
yes.
both signed for them.
Yeah,
For the
I-
tenant.
I keep seeing it as coming soon. I haven't seen it launched yet.
Pretty sure it's launched.
Okay, because I clicked on it last week and it says click here for beta or something. So I don't know if it's in beta mode. So that's Fran saying Single Key is going to help in co-signing for those people that don't have credit scores. So that's an interesting business.
Why would they do that?
There's like 1 month rent.
So they take 1 month's
They
rent
take
for it.
1 month rent, and they have access to
Hmm.
special credit bureau, so they know a little bit more.
So they can do international.
So they have to give like a 1 month extra deposit that they hold for them? So they're paying 3 months, like first, last, and this one?
Exactly.
So as
Is
like
that
a
is
guarantor?
that their fee or is that what
That's the fee,
their fees?
1 month.
And how do they get them all? So now, yeah, exactly. The part.
Great. They don't care.
Where's the guarantee? I wonder, are they gonna guarantee to pay the landlord?
They'll pay a month rent.
That sounds, that sounds dangerous to me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even touch it.
The problem with this is that this actually can drive up demand, which is distorting the market and reducing affordability. Because if everyone's paying a year up front, then all your landlords are going to be expecting a year up front. And now it's going to hurt people that don't have the year up front and are just trying to pay regular rent from getting into the market. So there's pros and cons to both that situation. This is their WTF of the week. I mean, it's not that we just saw one now too, but this is 2021, a Toronto detached home on Euro Road. This is like Kiel West area. sold for $950, but they started listing it at, sold for $950 2021. 2023, they listed at $1 million, and it just sold in June for $742. They're calling it 21.8% loss, which yes, technically on paper, but it's also representative of what that market is today. I looked at the house, it's like a little tiny detached, and it probably should have gone for about $750 in this market. So they're calling it a big deal, but I'm sure there's many examples of that all across our board. So there's some cities, Toronto's not alone in our stats. So Vancouver's also going through the same thing that we are. Sales are nearly 25% below their 10-year average. Prices are up in Calgary. So Calgary is probably the only province, I think, where prices are up right now, 8.5%.
They were down for so many
They were
years
down,
ago.
down. Condos are down for sure. Everyone's going there now. But now in Calgary, 40% of the homes are selling over the list price. However, could you guess what their average price is compared to Toronto and Vancouver? Toronto and Vancouver are both over $1 million. 600,000 in Calgary is their average price. So it makes sense. That's where people are going.
Heard there's a lot of flippers are out there now.
I'm sure a lot of guys from Toronto are going to Calgary to screw up their market too.
That's right.
They don't have like land transfer tax there, I don't think. Or there's something with their property taxes that are different than ours.
Yeah, the benchmark price is 608. Their sales numbers are down, not as much as Toronto. We're down 16%. They're only down 12, but their average price is up. So yeah, it's a bunch of Toronto people going over there to screw up their market too. Okay, just a couple more things. I did my portal stuff. Have you guys heard about the 1,000-minute rule? It's an entrepreneurial sort of, they teach it in like Harvard Business School. It's a time management principle. So the theory is that we have X amount of time in our lives, right? We spend sometimes sleeping, doing family stuff, but they've made a formula where basically one day is equal to 1,440 minutes. So in your working day, this is how many minutes you have. And so a lot of entrepreneurs, this one in particular is Ryan Serhant, he thinks about his day. When he wakes up, I now have 1,440 minutes to complete whatever I need to do. And each minute in his life goes towards something. So he's blocking it in 15-minute chunks. 6 hours is through sleeping. Okay, so that gets rid of 380 minutes. Then you spend maybe about an hour eating if you're really effective. So then you've only got about 1,000 minutes of your entire day. And so he's suggesting, and other business schools have suggested, that when you think about your 1,000 minutes you have, think about your goals, and everything you do in that day should be quantified with that time. So if that minute in your time block doesn't meet your goals, it's probably not productive time, and it's a waste, actually, minutes, which is actually now money for you. So as entrepreneurs, we don't have someone telling us what to do. We don't get paid based on the amount of hours we work. Every minute you have is counted to something. So they're suggesting that treat it like your bank account. So when you wake up, you've got 1,000 minutes in your bank account, and everything you do that day should go back to what your goals are and your productive goals. And then you could even tie it to 1,000 minutes a day or 4,000 hours a year. So in that year, what are you spending your time on? So, I mean, me and Katelyn do it too, where we have time blocked. Every single half an hour chunk of time is time blocked to something. And they're suggesting that if you're unsure of where your time is being spent, once a week, take a journal and calculate. And your phones will actually do it for you too. Your phone apps will show you where you're spending time. And if you have like half an hour to an hour of you scrolling through social media, you're not getting paid to do that. That hour is now gone. It's now wasted. So they're suggesting that you think about every day you wake up, you've got 1,000 minutes in your bank account. And as the day goes on, that gets drained and you get to refresh it every day. But it's meant to just get you really tailored and laser focus on your goals. And that every minute you have of the day is meant to something and not lingering or, scrolling social media or all the bad habits that we have. But we time block all of our time like that. Pretty hard to
time block.
You have to. And then the extra bonus minutes you get. So this is where you do your problem solving, right? So you have extra time. And as real estate agents, our job literally is only to problem solve and to delegate other skill sets. And then lastly, Brian Buffini, we haven't seen him do a thing in a while, but we like his style, but I thought this was interesting because I'm seeing a lot of agents now that summer market's happening. We're doing a lot of events. So I'm seeing people do webinars, newcomers to Canada events. Morale just had a big, huge picnic as well. But we're doing things, while it's slow to get business. And sometimes that requires us to do group speaking. And you can also apply this when you're doing a listing presentation as well. So oftentimes we'll get a call when someone's driving on their way to the listing presentation, say, I have a listing presentation, what do I need to know? And most likely you're going to fail at that presentation because of some things that you're missing out on. So you need to be able to practice. So whether you're doing a group seminar or group speech, you have to practice that presentation. So have the presentation ready and practice it on your own in your own mirror, have it ready. And then prepare. So prepare the week in advance, not just the day, the hour that you're going there, but actually prepare. And it's a little bit different than practicing. Practicing is sort of rehearsing for a specific talk, while preparing is getting your mindset ready and making sure that the content is really good for your group. And then deliver. So things like smiling, speaking clearly, slowly. They're saying, imagine you're attached to a string that's hooked at the top of your head and everything is dangling from that string. It helps you feel more vertical and relaxed as well. But I'm seeing a lot of people do events, and it also helps in your listening presentations as well.
How much time we got?
15 minutes.
All right. Where shall I start? I'm just gonna start. I'm just gonna go over a little bit about what Chris Leader talked about today. Can you guys see that? Is that big? Cool. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but he did talk about all the different prospecting activities. He called it strategic prospecting. I've talked a ton about prospecting to you guys, all the different ways to grow your business. He talked about the main ones, which are, these are the only ones. So if you guys don't like any of these, unfortunately, I don't know. I think these are the only ways to find real estate business. So unless you guys got some creative bone. But I did so we talked all about phone prospecting, which he said was dead, which Claire didn't love that statement, but do any of you guys agree with that? Is anyone calling?
We still know some callers.
Phone prospecting, not so much your people, but strangers.
Mhm.
Okay. So he's talking about just the different quality of leads. So everyone's always looking for what type of leads are the best type of leads. So I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, and it's always the funniest question I always see that people post. Well, what's the best way to get business besides your sphere of influence? And I'm like, that is the best way to get business. So like everyone's always trying to get away from their sphere of influence because they're too scared to ask their friends and family for business, or you're tired of asking them all the time for it. But at the end of the day, he just kind of like labeled from the best quality. So the poorest quality of leads is phone prospecting. So calling complete strangers and trying to get their business. He's saying it's harder to get people to want to buy a house through someone that just like called them. It's just a little bit different than it used to be. Not saying it doesn't work. We're just saying that the quality is a little bit less. The next one would be online leads, which that one does not surprise me. But again, this one is actually one of the ones that everyone's always asking me. New agents fresh out of school are always asking if we give out leads. Do we have leads to give out? And I will say, yes, there's leads to give out, but they're the poorest quality of people that you can get. And they're about $500 a month if you guys are investing it. So it's also a really expensive way to get business. He was saying maybe not completely cut it out of your prospecting activities, but just don't spend all your time on it. So just have it as an alternative, but don't spend all your days trying to capture all these online leads. But if you're going to go after the leads, make sure that it's got some sort of CRM platform running in the background that's sending automated follow-ups at least, so that they're getting something from you, which is what we have. We use Agent Locator, and we just signed on with a new one called Lone Wolf. It replaced Bold Leads. But yeah, they're getting leads, but yeah, they're pretty poor quality. They're just people that clicked on a website. Another agent that I think it was Agent Locator that tried to sell her into it. So I said, okay, before you go investing the money, let me just send you a couple of what an online lead quality is. And immediately she said, thank you for sending me that and saving me thousands of dollars because she got to experience what it was like to call an online lead. And she hated it. She's like, yeah, these are strangers that were just like, who are you?
I
Why
didn't
are
get
you
your
calling
website.
me?
I never clicked on
Yeah.
that. I don't know what
So
you're
she was
talking
like,
about.
this is terrible. Thank you for saving me $500 a month.
So anybody here that's tried those companies that guarantee you warm leads? Anybody got that? That's the sales pitch nowadays. When they phone you up, they'll tell you they have warm leads, right? So we have one that had warm leads, and then the phone number that we gave out wasn't even working.
Yeah, sometimes the phone numbers aren't working, the emails aren't working.
So the big sales pitch was warm leads. I'm like, well, the phone number doesn't even
Yeah.
work. So how?
Yeah, like you're gonna get leads, but their leads are much different than a client, right? So that's one of the ways. Niche market was really just narrowing down on a specific clientele. Geo farming is one that we talk about every week, which is just going after your own neighborhood. And if you're going to go to geo farming, it's not just necessarily like, hey, I just want to sell houses in my area. It's, hey, I'm going to set up community events. I'm going to go door knocking. I'm going to be throwing garage sale parties, street parties, all of that, and be really engulfed into my community. So geofarming is more than just sending out postcards. It's actually being active member of your neighborhood and putting yourself out there so that everybody in your neighborhood knows who you are. So that one's definitely a more long-term commitment. Social connections, which was just like going to parties, going to networking events. Anytime you're invited somewhere, go out there. Maybe you're the host of them, and maybe even joining local hobbies and meeting people that do yoga or they're part of the pickleball club and all of that stuff. He made a good point today. He had a client or an agent say that they wanted to sell luxury real estate. And he said, okay, great. Do you live in a luxury home yourself? No. Do your friends live in luxury homes? No. Are you part of a country club? No. Okay, so why is someone that's in like a luxury home going to buy or sell a house with you, right? So he's talking about don't necessarily worry so much about the price point, but selling to people that are in the same kind of net worth as you or the same type of lifestyle that you have instead of jumping up to a luxury if that's not quite the lifestyle that you're currently living. It's just going to be a lot harder to convert a luxury seller buyer into working with you. Referral partners, this would include like mortgage brokers, other real estate agents in other areas, people that can give you multiple referrals throughout the year. So they're working with buyers and sellers directly in a different type of business that can send you referrals. FSBOs and expires. So you guys aren't allowed to do expires. I was surprised that FSBOs were that high up in the quality of leads, but I guess he said FSBOs are typically people, these are for sale by owners. People that are looking to actually sell their home. So you would consider them maybe a more motivated seller lead. Property leads, this is from having your own listings. So when you have your own listings, you're going to get realtor.ca sign calls, which honestly, unfortunately, there's not as many as there was in the last couple of years. They've gone down, but even doing things such as open houses and just being in your community, having your for sale sign up, stuff like that, those will bring in even more high quality leads. That's why we're always trying to I bring in different speakers that teach you guys how to really be listing agents, do listing presentations, and really get strong at listing properties, because the type of leads that you get from owning or having your own listings is much more superior than if you were going to take on, say, online leads or something like that. So by being a listing agent, you do get quite a bit of quality leads that way. And then, of course, friends and family, and then your past clients. So these are people that have already worked with you. Your past clients are actually your best source of business. If you're a brand new agent, obviously we don't have a lot of past clients, but if you've got a lot of satisfied clients or even just a few, you should be coming up with some sort of stay in touch plan to stay in touch with them, doing community events or bringing your clients back together, asking them for referrals from their own networks, and really making a great effort throughout the year to remind yourself to stay in touch with people. So if you're somebody who has some satisfied clients that you've been ignoring or have not messaged in a long time, just know that this is ranked as the #1 source of quality lead. So if we've been abandoning your past clients and your friends and family, maybe it's time to tap back into those, because those are actually your best quality leads for buyers and sellers. So just some fun of what we did today. Anyone have any other ones that they missed? Because I think those are really the only ways to find business, even though we're all still trying to find the secret pill or secret sauce. That is it, is your network. Did you want to add anything to that one? No. Okay, so that's for your coaching for the week. What I did start doing with the Chris Leader notes, I write my own notes. This one was way too long for me to talk about all of them today, but I have put them into one giant Microsoft document that I sent out to the WhatsApp group this week. So if you guys want my coaching notes, that's where you can find them. What else we got? So we got a few things this week.
We want a big thing this
We
week.
have a really big thing this week. This is your final week, everybody. Your final announcement, your final warning. Stratus is going away in 1 week. Okay. I saw it open today on someone's computer.
Yeah, Steve's.
Steve had it open.
I saw a petition going around
There's
to
also
keep
petition
Stratus.
trying to keep it.
Don't
open.
bother. It's not, people are not going to keep it.
No.
We're moving.
So everybody needs to open Realm this week because it is going away. We've been sending you guys emails about this for probably 3 years now, if I'm really honest, because it was supposed to be with you guys in 2022. So we went hard on training in 2022. They canceled it. They moved it again. So this apparently is the final hit. So we've done lots of webinars. I've sent out plenty of emails. I've sent out lots of booklets. You guys have had an unlimited amount of resources to get you trained on it. So for the final week, what we're doing is there's going to be a manager at each office. Ginny's going to be in Oshawa. So from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. every day, there will be one of us at the offices to answer last minute questions. So it's not training sessions. We're not doing any of that. But if you've been playing around and there's something that you're unsure of, and you just want to sit down and go over it, we will do that. So Ginny will be at Oshawa from 11 to 1 from Tuesday to Friday by appointment, because that's, sorry, Tuesday to Thursday. Tuesday to Thursday, she's here Friday.
This week or not?
This week,
This
starting
week.
tomorrow.
So if you want to meet Ginny in Oshawa, you do need to book an appointment for that because it is a different type of office style that we've got there. So there is a sign in, and if we need to get a boardroom, we'll do that. Paige will be at Ajax from 11 to 1. I will be at Pickering Village from 11 to 1. Carly will be here 11 to 1. So if you need that hands-on support, those last minute questions, you will have someone. It's not 6 p.m., not 7 p.m.
It's also-
Please come during those hours because we've been putting a lot of effort into training you guys, and if we can do it during regular hours, that would be beneficial for
It's
us as
also
well.
not, hey, I've never logged into
Yeah.
Realm, never clicked a button type of
Please don't
training.
do that.
This is, hey, I'm having an issue with this, or I'd like to know how to do this. I can't quite figure it out. I have a live thing. It's a hands-on, not training. We expect that you would have done training already or some form of it. This is like, hey, I need some extra support.
Yeah.
I'll be doing Dawn Mills as well.
Claire will be Dawn Mills.
Perfect.
Great. So you have someone at every office, 11 a.m. till 1. That is your time to pull us aside.
Closing ceremony for Stratton.
We could have a next Monday, we can do a closing ceremony since it starts Tuesday.
I heard it's gonna still be open for like a month.
No. it's
Back
closed.
back doors still.
Still
Back
closed.
doors still.
So that's your training for Realm. We did webinars all last week. We had not a lot of turnout, so I assume that means everyone knows what they're doing.
Excellent.
Everyone's experts. So otherwise, that's all we got.
Did somebody say that they didn't want to do realm training on here? It was too long?
The Realm training is very long. So if you don't like the webinars, I would encourage you to read the booklets that we put on the Google Drive that we've sent you guys. So if you prefer to read and do it, otherwise the best way to do it is just to do it. So just think about what you do on Stratus every day, log into Realm, and then try to find those things on Realm. So the best way is just to do it. It's hard to watch through webinars and on books, and watching someone, the best way honestly is just to log in.
So like anything else, you gotta have some common sense here. Nelson and I have a joke on that, right? So.
What's the joke? Let's hear it.
Eh? Common sense. So somebody came to me last week. And said that they looked at Stratus, and Stratus had 91 properties show up on her search, and she went to Realm and only 36 showed up. So this is what I mean by common sense, meaning she understood that there was a problem, that
They're missing
they're missing something, understood. Same as taxes on a property, for instance. If somebody tells you tax on a property are $3,000 and you know it's Toronto, you know that it's wrong because nothing in Toronto is $3,000. Or sorry, not outside Toronto. Let's say Durham.
Pickering.
So common sense would tell you that like a Pickering detached house is not going to have a tax of $3,000. It's got to be interim. So it's just common sense, right? So this last week she knew that there was something wrong with Realm, and what they'd done is it's a common mistake on Realm. If you put 3-bedroom condo, you're gonna get 3-bedroom condo.
3-bedroom condo.
But she didn't want 3 bedrooms. She wanted 3 and 4 and 5. So as soon as you hit the 3, 4, and 5, all of a sudden 96 show up, not 36.
Yeah.
So when you're doing Realm, just have expectation what's in your head, what's going to be there, and it will be there, right? So you have to be able to look at it there.
I would also go into it with a positive mindset. We can fight it and be mad all we want and be negative and this stuff, but like it's not going to help you. It's here. It's not
Happening.
that bad. We are going to figure it out, but don't go in with the negative, scared mindset that you're going to get frustrated or like I've seen, like just go in. It's here. We don't have a
Well, I
choice.
talked to another broker last week from another brokerage who's been doing this probably as long as Claire has, and she said that the agents put up a fuss when Stratus came. So when Stratus came, apparently there was also a fuss. There's going to be a
Sure,
fuss about this,
pandemonium when that happens.
and then
right?
we'll be okay.
I think some people, what some people do, they do want Stratus, and they want to be identical. They want Realm to look identical to Stratus.
Mhm.
You get that, Nelson? I'm
Yeah.
looking at
Pickering to get pretty close.
It's
Yeah.
pretty close.
Pretty
It's not
close.
bad.
like one guy I'm aware of, and I haven't checked this out yet. Maybe you guys can answer my question there. Do you know where notice pages on Stratus? Who looks at notice pages on Stratus? Anybody?
It's a little different, the notice page.
Does anybody look at notice pages?
Yeah.
There, anybody? Anybody?
I do.
You look at notice
I
pages?
do, but now in the new realm, it's more like market areas, not notice pages. It's not exactly the same.
So I wonder if they're gonna duplicate. So this is my point, is that sometimes like Stratus does one thing and try to duplicate it in Realm, it's pretty hard.
But they're also open to suggestions. So if
Yeah,
you
send
find
your
something that you
stuff.
think, like Elian and I were looking at landscape versus portrait, we should probably all email them, tell them we want landscape. I'm sure that's a coding that they could figure out in the printing, right? Perfect. So then, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, the Realm help desk has been awesome. So if you guys are in after hours or like,
So
you
you
need to
want
get
it,
help there.
let me go back. You want it landscape or portrait?
Available in portrait, you don't have e-coms.
Yeah.
In portrait, right?
The ironic thing is it still does landscape, but it's still only
It only
does it
does
here.
8.
So really truly is portrait size anyways. It's just blank
So,
here.
so just, you know, the premise of Realm is so that it's mobile friendly, not desktop friendly.
Trying to get us away from paper.
They're trying,
paper.
so that's why you have some funny things going on there.
Mm.
I find Realm overall is much better.
I do too. The Realm app is
I
really
say that,
good.
I say that on purpose.
We're all positive thinking here.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I like the Realm app. The mobile app is really good, especially if you're on the road, so you're not on House Sigma like your clients are. So it does pop up more information than what your clients can.
And if you want to do the broker sheet, just remember, broker sheet is identical, not identical, it's very similar to the Stratus prints. So just remember broker sheet, client sheet. Save your, yeah, save your.
Transfer all your prospect searches if you haven't already and your contacts.
So you can so your contacts, you're gonna export your contacts to CVS file and you're gonna import the contacts to your Realm. Your prospect searches, you're gonna go to your edit profile and your little avatar at the top, and you're gonna have transfer the prospect searches over to Realm. But there's a two-step process. If you're gonna do that, you also have to go back into that search and assign it to that particular client.
And also audit it and double check that it's something.
And it's not, and I had a lot of people want to do that, and I'm thinking, you know, why bother? Why not just start from scratch? Just create your contact, do the search on Realm, make sure, you know, look at it, make sure it makes sense, make sure it's got everything you want to do, and then save it, and then you're done the same thing.
So that's prospect. And then just one other thing on Wednesday at 2:00, Richard Robbins is doing a free webinar on market outlook. So if you guys, I sent an email on that last week, maybe I'll send another one, but Wednesday at 2:00, you guys want to just do a Richard Robbins market outlook. I'm sure he's selling his fall course as well, but
He's really good at talking about the
He's really
market
good.
too. He's Canadian also, so it helps.
Yeah. And what was the other thing?
Contest.
Oh yeah, we're still doing our contest until August 12th.
We've only announced it within the Monday meeting. We haven't put it anywhere else, so you guys get the benefit of kind of knowing about
You
it.
guys are automatically put into the contest if you do a listing.
If you sell a listing, get a new listing live on MLS, no cancel relist a brand new one, or do a buy side trade.
So
Firm.
we'll have it all in the back end. So if you get
We'll track it for you.
one email, it's not a scam. It was-
Yeah,
it
so
was
if you
part of-
got a listing and sold it in the same time, you get 2 entries.
Yeah.
And we'll keep track of all of it for you.
Cool. And golf day on August 14th.
Yes, family
If
fun.
you haven't RSVP'd.
Yeah.
Email Ginny, tell us if you're bringing a spouse or your children. By August 2nd, email Ginny to
I can tell
RSVP as
people
well.
haven't because we only have about 50
only
right
have-
now, and we usually get about 150. So please let Ginny know if you're coming so we can account for you.
I think that's it.
Anything else? Any listings to chat about? Anyone need to talk about anything? No.
Okay, happy Realm Week.
Have a good week.
Happy full moon week.